You see it every single day, right? But have you ever stopped to really think about the incredible story behind the wheel? You might be surprised to learn that this seemingly simple invention is way, way more recent and complex than you probably imagine. Today, we're digging into that real story. Okay, let's just dive right in. If you ask someone to name the most important invention in all of human history, chances are the wheel's going to be right there at the top of the list. It just feels fundamental, you know? Almost elemental, like fire or language.
And for good reason. I mean, it's the silent engine of our world. It's in everything from the massive tires on our cars to the tiniest little gears in our watches. It's become this powerful symbol of human progress and our constant drive to build something new.
But here's the crazy part. The wheel is a surprisingly recent invention. It showed up on the scene thousands of years after our ancestors had already figured out farming, how to make sophisticated pottery, and even how to build boats and sail the seas. And that's where the story starts to get really interesting. So, where did it all begin? Let's rewind the clock and unearth the earliest evidence we have for the wheel's very first turn.
This timeline reveals a really fascinating sequence. First off, get this. The potter's wheel, that spinning disc for shaping clay, that actually came first by at least 1,000 years. So the concept was there, but it wasn't until around 3500 BCE that we start seeing the first pictures of wagons with wheels. The oldest actual wheel we've ever found is from about 200 years after that. And then it took another 1,300 years or so for the absolute game-changing spoked wheel to be invented.
And here it is. This is the oldest physical wheel ever found. It was discovered preserved in the Ljubljana marshes in what is now Slovenia, and it's over 5,000 years old. You can almost imagine the people who made it, taking those first crucial steps toward a revolution in how we move. This artifact gives us a peek into one of the wheel's first known uses. It's a little detail from an ancient Sumerian artifact called the Standard of Ur, and it shows a war cart being pulled by onagers, which are kind of like wild donkeys. Now look closely at the wheels. They're solid, heavy discs made from planks of wood just clamped together. I mean, they worked, but they must have been so clumsy. Now what's really key here is that we can't just point to one person or one culture and say, they invented the wheel. The evidence for wheeled vehicles just kind of pops up in Mesopotamia, Eastern Europe, and the Caucasus all around the same time. This suggests the idea either sprang up independently in a few places, or it spread like absolute wildfire. So those first wheels were solid and incredibly heavy, which really limited what you could do with them. But a major innovation was just on the horizon, one that would lead to a total revolution in speed and even in warfare. The invention of the spoked wheel around 2000 BCE was a complete game-changer. By getting rid of all that heavy wood in the middle and replacing it with this brilliant system of a hub, a rim, and spokes under tension, ancient engineers created a wheel that was both dramatically lighter and, believe it or not, structurally much, much stronger. And you can really see the difference here. On the left, a heavy, solid temple wheel, probably great for a slow, heavy cart. But on the right, that much more sophisticated spoked wheel. This new design made it possible to build swift, agile vehicles like war chariots, and that completely transformed the ancient battlefield. The evolution of the wheel in the old world seems pretty straightforward, right? You go from solid discs to spoked marvels. But this is where we run into one of history's most fascinating puzzles, the story of the wheel, or the lack of one, in the Americas before Europeans arrived. So get this. Archaeologists have found a ton of artifacts just like this one. They're basically little wheeled toys, mostly animal figures, found at sites all across Mesoamerica, and they prove, without a doubt, that ancient cultures there totally understood the mechanical principle of the wheel and axle.
And this is the central mystery. For all their incredible sophistication, their architecture and astronomy were just off the charts. They never developed wheeled carts for transport, not even a simple wheelbarrow or a potter's wheel. They knew how it worked, so why didn't they use it?
Well, the answer wasn't a lack of smarts. It was a lack of horsepower. Literally. In the old world, the wheel was paired up with domesticated horses and oxen. The Americas didn't have animals like that. The American bison couldn't be tamed, and the llama, while a great pack animal, just isn't built to pull heavy loads. An invention is only as good as the system around it, and a wheel is pretty useless without an engine to make it go. So far, we've mostly talked about the wheel as a tool. But to truly understand its impact, we need to look beyond just its mechanical function. Let's move to the final piece of our story, the incredible power and symbolism of the wheel. This number really captures the wheel's mechanical genius.
One estimate says it can reduce the energy needed to move a heavy object by a factor of 40 compared to just dragging it. That's a massive, massive force multiplier.
At its core, the wheel and axle combo isn't just a clever invention. It's a fundamental principle of physics. It's one of the 6 simple machines that form the bedrock of mechanical engineering, a concept that literally set the world in motion.
Because of its amazing properties and its endless circular shape, the wheel very quickly became this powerful spiritual metaphor for cycles, for repetition, and for eternity. We see this right here in the Jain concept of the cosmic wheel of time, representing the repeating cycles of life. It has also shown up in religious contexts as a symbol of divine power and mystery. One of the most famous examples is from the Bible, in the prophet Ezekiel's vision of a heavenly chariot with wheels within wheels. It's this powerful, mind-bending image that has captivated people for centuries.
And this symbolism is everywhere. It represents law and order on the flag of India. It represents a nomadic history on the flag of the Romani people. And, stick a pair of wings on it, and it suddenly becomes a universal symbol for speed and progress. The wheel carries so much deep, powerful meaning all across the globe.
This quote just nails why we hold it in such high regard. We see the wheel as this major benchmark of societal advancement. We place it right up there with the development of farming and metalworking as one of the great pillars of civilization itself.
So the next time you see a wheel, whether it's on a car or just a shopping cart, remember, it's not just a simple circle. It's the product of this long, complex, and surprisingly twisty story of human ingenuity. And it leaves you wondering, doesn't it? What other incredible stories are hidden in the everyday objects we see but never really look at?